Well, hello again, everybody, and I hope you're enjoying this wonderful weekend of virtual exhibition. My next interviewee is a really good friend, writer, broadcaster, Jenny Kirk. Hi, Jenny. How are you, my dear?
Hi, I am absolutely great, thank you. It's great to see you, and thank you very much for inviting me on this.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Now, in February or March of last year, I invited you to come down to Ali Pali, and I believe it was your first trip to the London Festival of Railway Modelling. Did you enjoy it?
I did very much. Obviously, Ali Pali is one of those exhibitions that everybody talks about because it's one of the big dates in the model railway calendar throughout the year. But it being at the other end of the country, it's always been impossible for me to get there until you invited me down. And I was incredibly impressed. It's on a vast scale, but you've got that huge mix of, you've got the layouts, you've got the trade, but there's also a lot of media type stuff that goes on as well, with manufacturers showing their wares and also some announcements, things like that. So I just thought it was this great mix of different things, something for everybody.
I remember your excitement when you got hold of the dapple prototype of the Terrier.
Yes, yes. Like a kid in a candy shop, and going around. And they weren't the only company that let me handle some of their prototypes, but really, it's just all of a sudden you sit there and you think, this is amazing. I'm seeing these models firsthand. They're letting me handle them. And it was just so great how accommodating the manufacturers were to show you their products, that they were rightly proud of their products and happy to let people scrutinize them like that.
Yeah, I think we are very, very lucky that we have a very, very nice bunch of manufacturers who really are accessible to the hobby. And I think it's a plus point on that. Was there anything else that stood out for you on the day?
I think the quality of the layouts. I mean, that said, you go to any model railway exhibition and there's always a really good spread of different layouts. But the one that I think really caught my eye was, is it Buntisland?
Buntisland, from our friends up in, it's modelled on the Fife area before the Forth Bridge was in place, and it is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, to model that period anyway, you have very little ready to run support from the manufacturer. So everything has to be scratch built. And it was just so exquisitely done. And I remember, I luckily, because you'd invited me down, I was able to actually go around before the crowds come in. So just before the doors opened, I got to that layout and I was blown away. It was just like, wow, the quality of the model making was excellent. I mean, not to detract from any of the other models that were there were so many other great models, but that really stuck in my mind, I think, because you knew that there was pretty much everything was scratch built, because there was nothing ready to run that's available to go with that kind of period.
I would totally agree. It's one of my favourites. Now, having seen all this great modelling, you then put yours out on the line again, didn't you? About a year ago, when you arrived at the McAlpine estate to take part in the second series of the Great British Model Railway Challenge. What prompted you to get back on the small screen?
People keep badgering me. I dabbled with being involved with Series 1 when that series first launched, and for personal reasons, I wasn't able to see that all the way through. So I guess it's like with all of these things, you take a chance and you won't be sorry for what might have been. And I remember watching that first series on television and feeling a little bit of a pang of regret that I'd had the opportunity to take part and then kind of, for other reasons, wasn't able to. So I basically got asked if I'd be interested in doing Series 2. And I thought, I just jumped at the chance. I thought, I've got the time, I will make the time. And I'm so glad that I did, because it was a fabulous experience. Not just the TD side of it. I mean, that's always fun. I've worked on and off in the media, film and television, going way, way back. But the fact that it was combining my hobby of building model railways with a TV series, and you got to play with so many products that I hadn't otherwise been aware of. And using things from, say, like Woodland Scenics, things like the risers, the shaper sheet, that I'd never even heard of, and suddenly to be able to road test these products and think, actually, where has this been all of my modelling career? This is fabulous. Sea moss trees was another one from Gauge Master. We've got the forest in the box kits. And I was aware that they existed, but I'd never dared try playing with them. But with this, we got to do that. And it opened my eyes to this wider world of materials, tools, and techniques. And I think I came out of it a much better modeler as a result. I had a great time whilst I was there, but I feel if anybody's ever gets the chance to do that, do it, because you will become a much richer modeler as a result in terms of knowledge, technique, and confidence as well.
Yeah, I think Pat Doyle and the team at Knickerbocker did a really good job with the series. I had the pleasure of coming down on a couple of the judging days, and I must admit, walking in there and seeing your War of the Worlds layout, I was completely blown away.
Yeah, I remember you walked up to me. I sort of turned around and saw you coming towards me, and you went, "I want that at Ali Pali." And
oh yes,
I think that I think more than anything was such a vote of confidence in our model making, because I guess, as you know yourself, when you yourself make something, sometimes it's very hard for you to judge your own work with the way that other people see it, because you get engrossed in the creative process, and it's almost like you get a blinker vision. And what you actually really need is somebody who spontaneously, as you did, comes in, and when you get that reaction, it's then like that confirmation that, yeah, we did good. So that was actually a great moment.
No, I think you did really well, and I was very proud of your achievement through the series. Now, obviously, we've just come through 3 months of lockdown. You've got your YouTube channel running. How have you found lockdown for the hobby?
I think that's been a real boon for the hobby, because people have been sort of stuck under one roof, kind of chewing on the walls, so to speak. And what the lockdown has forced them to do is to either discover or rediscover our creative hobby. And it's been something that, say the whole family can become involved in. And I think the hobby is much richer for that. But then we've also had the online community, where people are finding these sort of virtual hangouts to be with like-minded people, because they can't have the exhibitions, can't have that social aspect of things. So what they've actually done is they've found things like I do a live stream every Monday, and that's just become a huge thing. And I know that there's lots of other people as well who've got on board. We published a virtual, a community live stream guide as well, so that people could go to one page and actually just look through and go, oh yeah, actually there's a live stream on at this time, there's another one on at this time. And it was helping keeping people in touch, because whereas you've got the families, there's also a lot of people who maybe live on their own, feeling quite lonely, feeling quite isolated. And the community kind of came together to provide an outlet and a companionship, a friendship, a sharing of ideas for a lot of these people. And what I've seen is that actually people starting to take on projects that they maybe didn't have the confidence to do before. And I know, speaking to retailers as well, they say that actually model railway, the hobby, has bucked the trend in terms of people spending money, and actually sales have increased at a lot of places as people are buying stuff to be able to do things during lockdown.
Yeah, I think applause must go to the retailers. I've had stuff delivered from Rails and other places, and the service has been absolutely the same as pre-lockdown. I think they've done a brilliant job.
Yeah, especially when you think that they've got to socially distance. I know from speaking to Rails that they've had to put in place all manner of safety measures, to protect their own staff. And in any other time that would have been really hampering any business, but they've pulled together and they've kept up that level of service, getting these things out there, because obviously people can't go to the model shop anymore. And I think that they, Hans, Kerno, Invicta, all of the small model railway outlets, they've really come through and helped the hobby by getting the materials out there. And it's been great for the hobby.
I would agree, and I think we're very lucky. We're in a golden age of product at the moment, and for that product to keep flowing through to us, I think we will see some very, very good sales figures from everybody, and hopefully encourage the next generation to come into the hobby as well.
Yeah, I think it's something that we saw off the back of Great Model Railway Challenge, was that it's encouraging a younger generation in by firing up that imagination. And maybe as older railway modelers, we kind of sometimes forget that fun of being young and, you know, letting the imagination fill in the gaps. But with GMRC, there were a lot of things where people were doing these really creative, different things that went against the grain of conventional model railway building, and kind of trying to bring some of that fun back in. And that's caught the imagination of the younger generation and brought them into the hobby, which is what the hobby needs. We need
Yes.
new blood. Otherwise, you know, there's nobody to keep the hobby going as we go through time. And I think it's been great.
Well, I'm glad to see you looking so well. What's coming up for Jenny for the rest of the year?
Very, very busy. I've got a really good working relationship with an awful lot of manufacturers, and I'm really honoured that they've been agreeable to work with me. So I'm able to do announcements of products, getting information out about new products, which I think is really important so people can see pictures of the EPs, the livery samples, things like that. So I'm forever in the debt of companies such as Accurascale, Hornby, Daypol, Oxford Rail, who've been very, very good with providing me materials like that, but also sending through models to review so that people can see what a model looks like from that kind of view, as if you're in a model shop handling it yourself. But then also I've got a lot of invites for going to events, to places. I've just actually, as travel restrictions started to ease, I've been able to go down, and we filmed it all socially distanced down in Cambridge at a private 5-inch gauge railway.
Oh, you lucky girl.
It was an amazing day, actually. And I think when the footage is all edited up, you will see that pure joy in my face. We filmed a big video there. We've got invites to go to a couple of other railways as well as they start to open up. But then there's also a few other bits and pieces in the pipeline that I can't really talk about, but certainly they're going to be really exciting when they break cover.
Well, I quite understand, but can I put one more invitation in your diary? Do you promise to come back and see us for Ali Pali 2021?
I definitely will. In fact, to tell you what, I will bring War of the Worlds as well.
Okay, that's the day. Jenny, good to see you looking so well. Glad life is treating you so well. And I look forward to seeing you back in the flesh at Ali Pali 2021. In the meantime, look after yourself.
Thank you very much. And thanks again for inviting me on.
My pleasure.